Hello and welcome. Tonight, crisis erupts in River State House of Assembly. Lawmakers move to impeach State Governor Siminalayi Fubara after fire gutted the Assembly chamber in controversial circumstances. Produce your grounds of impeachment. Governor Fubara challenges River State lawmakers seeking his removal, accuses police of shooting at him on his way to Assembly complex. I won't quit the struggle for political reforms and economic restructuring of the country. PDP presidential candidate declares in his reaction to Supreme Court judgment affirming the victory of President Bola Tinubu. On business news tonight, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz promises easy visa access for Nigerian businesses as he pleads to strengthen bilateral relations between both countries.
On sports news tonight, former head of the Spanish Football Association, Luis Rubiales, says he will appeal against a 3-year ban handed down by FIFA over the forced kiss on the lips he gave World Cup winner Jenny Hermoso.
And from Abuja, Federal Executive Council approves 2023 supplementary budget of 2.1 trillion naira to address urgent issues including national security and agriculture.
And in international news from London, Israeli armoured vehicles have been seen on the main road running from north to south of the Gaza Strip, close to Gaza City.
Politics in River State today took a new twist with last night's fire in the State House of Assembly triggering a wave of actions and counteractions. Remarkable is the decision of the State Assembly to commence impeachment proceedings against the State Governor, Mr. Siminalayi Fubara. The House Speaker claimed that the fire incident was supervised by the Government House and the House Leader, Edison Ehie, whom the lawmakers also removed from his position.
Members of the River State House of Assembly are gathered in the unfamiliar setting of the auditorium away from their usual venue, which was mysteriously burnt down last night. The Speaker makes his way in and proceedings begin with the Speaker condemning in strong language the burning of the hallowed chambers. He accuses the House Leader, Edison Ehie, of supervising the burning on behalf of the government.
Sadly here, we see a situation where the legislature is being attacked and not allowed to perform. We cannot really understand why our own chambers will be burnt down because somebody does not want this arm of government to survive or to function. This is sad. This is a sad day for River State, and we know that security agencies will certainly do what is necessary to arrest all those who brought this bad news to River State.
3 items are brought before the House by the clerk. The first is the removal of Edison Ehie as leader. The second is the suspension of Edison Ehie representing Ahoda East, Victor Oko representing Bonny, Goodboy Sakari Goodboy representing Ahoda West, Adolphus Timothy representing Okpobonkoro from the House. And thirdly is the impeachment of Governor Fubara.
A very important motion.
Finally, Silvanus Mwakwa from Omuma constituency presents the notice of impeachment against the governor as signed by 24 members. The governor is accused of acts of gross misconduct unbecoming of the office of the governor.
Mr. Speaker, this morning I rise to move a very important motion brought pursuant to Order 12 and Order 28 of our standing orders. Mr. Speaker, the said motion is a motion to remove the majority leader of the River State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Edison Ehie. Mr. Speaker, the reason for this motion is for inefficiency and ineffectiveness. Mr. Speaker, I so move. With your leave, Mr. Speaker, may I lay it at the table.
The Speaker asks that the notice of impeachment be forwarded to the governor and allow the legal process to take its course, after which he adjourns plenary indefinitely. Shortly after the sitting, a faction of the Assembly members met elsewhere and elected the former majority leader, Edison Ehie, as their Speaker.
My commitment to Rivers people is that I will be fair, I will be just to all and sundry, and I will ensure that the rule of law takes its course. I will not betray my colleagues. I will not betray Rivers people. I will not betray my constituents. I will also ensure the independence of the Rivers House of Assembly is adhered to with mutual respect to the judiciary and the executive arm of government.
However, shots are heard outside and the lawmakers immediately flee the chambers as tear gas and water cannons are used to disperse protesters outside.
Meanwhile, River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has described the move to impeach him as a nullity, accusing the police of shooting at him on his way to inspect the State House of Assembly complex. He said the police were deployed to obstruct his access to the complex. Governor Fubara stated this while addressing a crowd of supporters at the gate of the government house.
In a twist of events similar to that of 2013, Governor Siminalayi Fubara of River State is making efforts with the help of his security aides to gain access into the State House of Assembly complex. His intention, according to the state government, is to inspect the complex, which was gutted by fire on Sunday night. But on arrival at the Moscow Road, where the assembly is located, his convoys met with stiff resistance by uniformed men. Tear gas canisters and gunshots were released to push back the governor's convoy. But insisting on going further, the governor damns the consequences as he alights from his vehicle and walks by foot to the complex, where he inspects what is left of the assembly chambers.
From what I've seen, the security is even compromised.
Yeah, exactly.
They were shooting at me. They were shooting at me. This operation was shooting at me directly. But it doesn't matter. Somebody will die one day.
Yes.
I want to die. When people hear Fubara, they say, who is this Fubara? Is that man that was killed one time for a struggle?
You will not die. You will not die.
I am not against anybody. I am not planning anything against anybody. I'm the chief security officer. I'm the head of the government. The first person that should come, declare the place, and create an alternative place for assembly to sit. So whatever action that is taken here is none.
His visit comes few minutes after 24 out of the 32 members of the State Assembly sat to suspend 4 members and presented a notice of impeachment to be served on the governor over alleged gross misconduct. With cheers from his supporters, Governor Fubara, in company of now suspended leader and members of the State House of Assembly, walked back to the government house, where he addresses the crowd at the gate, vowing to resist any unlawful impeachment process.
So my journey today is, whatever it is that wants to happen, let it happen. Siminalayi Fubara is impeached, I am not the first, neither will I be the last. Come out and tell the people of River State that offense that Fubara committed that is warranting impeachment. So, but my happiness this morning is the people of River State, represented by every one of you here, is with us. I can go home and sleep.
Residents will only hope that this crisis, coming less than 6 months into his current administration, does not escalate.
Well, staying with the political crisis rocking River State, a former federal commissioner of information and elder statesman, Chief Edwin Clark, is asking the president to call the minister of the FCT, Mr. Nyesom Wike, to order. He adds that the former River State governor should give peace a chance in River State after ruling the state for 8 years. Chief Clerk spoke at a press conference in Abuja.
When he supported the present governor from the riverine area, everybody thanked him because the mainland had ruled this River State for 24 years, starting with Dr. Peter Odili, then Rotimi Amechi, then himself. In this case, he chose the man, the present governor, who worked with him as his accountant general for 8 years. Now he wanted to control him, control him from Abuja. It won't work. Leave the man to run his government. And I'm calling on River State people to stand by their government. So I'm calling on Mr. President Tinubu to call him to order and leave peace to reign under the present governor in River State.
Well, after today's firestorm at the River State House of Assembly, our correspondent Charles Apuram returned to the scene of the crisis and brings us this situation report.
The River State House of Assembly complex, calm after the storm. Moscow Road, cordoned off earlier today, but of course has calmed down right now. If you just walked in here, you will be forgiven for believing that nothing has happened here. Indeed, at about 10 p.m. last night, we were inundated by reports that the hallowed chambers where lawmakers sit to make laws for River State had been gutted by a fire. At about 7 a.m. this morning, members of the House of Assembly started trickling in for what they called an emergency sitting. This is in spite of the fact that they had adjourned to Thursday at their last sitting on Friday last week. And then at about 7:56 a.m., the Speaker of the House, Honorable Martin Samewule, made his way into the auditorium for their emergency sitting, and 3 items were read out by the Clerk of the House. 1, the removal of Honorable Edison Ehe as leader of the House. 2, the suspension of Edison alongside 3 other members. And of course, 3, the impeachment of Governor Siminalayi Fubara. They all went according to plan, and that was until the governor, accompanied by Edison, arrived here, though a bit late, because at the time they came, members of the House were done and they left, 24 of them. But the governor and Edison and the youth who had been with them were met with resistance by members of the police force who had been deployed here to cordon off Moscow Road, where the House of Assembly sits. Tear gas was fired, water cannons were used, they were resisted, and the governor and Edison eventually made their way into the House to see for themselves the extent of the damage. From Moscow Road, Port Harcourt, Charles Apuram, Channels Television News.
And indeed, Channels Television will continue to monitor events as they unfold in that state. In part 2, after the break, PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar vows to continue the struggle for political reforms and economic restructuring of the country, says he's not going away. That's in a moment. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live from Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Crisis erupts in River State House of Assembly. Lawmakers move to impeach State Governor Siminalayi Fubara after fire gutted the Assembly chamber in controversial circumstances. Produce your grounds of impeachment. Governor Fubara challenges River State lawmakers seeking his removal, accuses police of shooting at him on his way to the Assembly complex. I won't quit the struggle for political reforms and economic restructuring of the country, PDP presidential candidate declares in his reaction to Supreme Court judgment affirming the victory of President Tinubu. And Israeli armored vehicles seen on the main road running from north to south of Gaza Strip. With politics, the candidate of the PDP in the 2023 presidential election, Atiku Abubakar, says he is resolved to continuing to advance democracy and uphold the rule of law despite the judgment of the Supreme Court that affirmed the victory of President Bola Tinubu. Mr. Abubakar, who criticised the judgment, told journalists in Abuja that he may have ended this phase of work, but he will join hands with other citizens in the struggle for political reforms and economic restructuring that the country deserves.
This isn't just another routine gathering of members of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. It's a special occasion where the party's 2023 presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, wants to react to the recent Supreme Court judgment in a case he filed challenging President Tinubu's electoral victory. Senior members of the party, including the acting national chairman, the chairman of the board of trustees, and some former governors, are in attendance.
We may be disappointed, but one thing I want to reiterate here is that we are not deterred.
The PDP's presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar then takes to the podium for his address. He outlines what he believes could be the implications of the judgment on future elections in Nigeria.
The judgments of the PEPC and the Supreme Court have far-reaching grave implications, including the following. One is the erosion of trust in the electoral system and our democracy. When people lose trust and confidence in elections, democracy is practically on life support. The other grave implication is that contestants in Nigeria's election should do whatever is necessary to be declared winner. That includes identity theft, impersonation, forging of educational and other documents, perjury, and violence. The third is that if you are robbed of victory, do not bother going to cause for redress, because we are glaring evidence of the robbery will be ignored in favor of the mandate bandit.
However, the former vice president is not silent on his next line of action.
As for me and my party, this phase of work is done. However, I'm not going to go away. If you think I'm going to go away, forget about it. For as long as I breathe, I will continue to struggle with other Nigerians to deepen our democracy and rule of law.
He also suggests some reforms to Nigeria's electoral laws and more.
We can urgently make constitutional amendments, and I'm happy members of the National Assembly are here, that will prevent any court or tribunal from hiding behind technicalities and legal sophistry to affirm electoral haste and undermine the will of the people. We must make electronic voting and collation of results mandatory. We must provide that all litigation arising from a disputed elections must be concluded before inauguration of the winner.
Other recommendations are mandatory electronic voting and collation of results, conclude all electoral litigations before inaugurating a winner, as well as require a presidential candidate to secure 50% plus one of all valid votes cast or conduct a runoff for the two leading candidates. The Supreme Court's verdict on October the 26, 2023 has sparked numerous responses from both the ruling party and the opposition parties. For the PDP presidential candidate, this judgment marks a chapter in his political career, but by no means signifies its conclusion.
Meanwhile, the ruling All Progressives Congress is asking the former vice president to accept defeat following the final judgment on the 2023 presidential election. In a statement by the APC National Publicity Secretary Felix Morka, the party says it's delusional for the PDP presidential candidate to have expected the courts to rely on what it described as their bogus evidence to obtain an election that was conducted in substantial compliance with the Constitution and electoral laws of the country. According to the APC, Mr. Abubakar missed the opportunity to stamp his prestige as an elder and statesman by congratulating President Tinubu on his electoral victory. In another reaction to the briefing by the PDP presidential candidate, the president's special advisor on information and strategy, Mr. Bayo Nanuga, said Mr. Abubakar lost because he went into a major election with a fragmented and tattered umbrella that could not hold together. We head to Abuja for more stories. Victor Matthias is standing by. Hi, Victor.
Hello, Millicent. Good to see you and welcome to the nation's capital. Let's now begin at the presidency, where the Federal Executive Council today approved the 2023 supplementary budget of 2.1 trillion naira to fund urgent matters. The Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku, told journalists after the meeting that the budget includes allocations to maintain progress on national security and agriculture. The budget will also cover 4 months' wage award for federal government workers and the Student Loan Fund. Our State House correspondent Lanre Lasisi reports.
The weekly Federal Executive Council meeting takes place in the State House with President Bola Tinubu presiding. Unlike previous meetings, President Tinubu addresses a few issues on the task before members of his cabinet.
I have absolute confidence on the integrity of my chief of staff. All campaign of calumny and insinuations should stop. The buck stop here. If I make mistake, I'm ready to own up to it. Unless I send for you. Don't come. No one is privileged to have access and sitting in this expo.
The meeting then goes into a closed session. Key resolutions were reached during the session, especially on the budget.
The Council considered a request for supplementary appropriation, which is the second for 2023, and graciously approved the sum of 2,176,791,286,033 naira as supplementary budget.
A breakdown of the proposed 2023 supplementary budget includes 605 billion naira for national defense and security, 210 billion naira for provisional wage increment as agreed with organized labor, 400 billion naira as cash transfer payments of 25,000 naira to 15 million households. The council also approved the award of 5.5 billion naira for the construction of access roads for the Abuja Light Rail. It was also announced that FEC had approved a retreat for members of the cabinet that will take place this week from Wednesday to Friday. The retreat will be for cabinet members, senior advisors to the president, and they're expected to be there from this week. From the presidential villa, Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the federal government is given assurances that the Tinubu-led administration will continue to invest resources in security and initiate key reforms that will enhance performance of the police force. This was part of the message by President Bola Tinubu delivered by the Minister of Police Affairs, Mr. Ibrahim Gaidam, at the opening of the 2023 conference and retreat for senior police officers in Owerri, the Imo State capital.
It's the opening ceremony of the 2023 conference and retreat for senior police officers across the 36 states of the Federation, including the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
Synergistic approach to security.
These senior police officers are here in Owerri, the Imo State capital, just as they did last year for the same event. The event gets underway with the arrival of the Imo State Governor, Senator Hope Uzodimma.
Nigeria Police Medal to welcome us to this laudable and memorable event.
First to address the gathering is the Inspector General of Police, and he speaks on the theme of the conference and how it will drive the policies that will engender a new policing vision and internal security.
The theme of this year's conference and retreat, fostering economic prosperity, social integration, and political development through enhanced internal security mechanism, is derived from the policing vision of the new police leadership in the country, emplacing a professionally competent, service-driven, rule of law compliant, and citizen-friendly police force, which will support the agenda of government in fostering economic recovery and growth, as well as social integration and political development of Nigeria.
Goodwill messages follow from the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, as well as the National Security Advisor, who was represented by Major General Atiku.
Nigeria, with its vast human and natural resources, has the potential to become a global economic powerhouse. However, achieving sustained economic prosperity requires a secure and stable environment that nurtures investment, innovation, and entrepreneurship.
The Office of the National Security Advisor, on its part, will continue to explore new ways and means of enhancing collaboration with all stakeholders to effectively checkmate security threats and set conditions for a stable and prosperous environment.
The keynote speaker and president of Interpol, Ahmed Nasser Al-Raisi, speaks on some of the challenges faced by police in Africa, just as he outlines how these challenges can be addressed.
Together, we must encourage to ensure a shared responsibility to exchange expertise and knowledge and solutions for increased cooperation to make the world a safer place for us all.
Next, the governor of Imo State, Senator Hope Uzodimma, shares his thoughts on how the welfare of officers and men of the police can be enhanced.
My submission here is that the National Assembly should, as a matter of urgency, come up with a bill for a special police fund. Under this arrangement, both the national and sub-national government must agree for a special percentage from the Federation account to be reserved for the continuous and sufficient funding of the Nigerian police.
For President Bola Tinubu, who is represented at the event by the Minister of Police Affairs, creating an enabling environment for officers and men of the police force to perform their duties is not negotiable. As such, everything must be done to make that happen.
We shall continue to invest resources to improve the quality of police personnel, upgrade equipment, and acquire more security assets to make the job of policing easier across the length and breadth of the nation.
As these senior police officers settle down to focus on the task of achieving the strategic objectives of repositioning the police force, it is expected that the recommendations from this event will go a long way towards helping them in the optimal performance of their duties.
Still to come on the news at 10, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz promises easy visa access for Nigerian businesses, pledges to strengthen bilateral relations between both countries. That's on Business News. Do join us again.
Welcome back to Lagos and to some company news. Choice International Group, CIG, manufacturers of Lontor, a leading brand for household appliances, has unveiled music star Patrick Nemeka Okorie, popularly known as Patoranking, as its new brand ambassador. The company says it has a lot more in stock for its customers, and the partnership with the artist, it's only a part of the big plan.
Choice International Group, manufacturers of Lontor, a leading brand for household appliances, has unveiled music star Patrick Nemeka Okorie, popularly known as Patoranking, as its new brand ambassador.
We're about to start something epic.
The company says it has a lot more in store for its customers, and the partnership with the musician is only a part of the big plan.
The son also is present.
But first, the management explains the strategy and choice of Patoranking.
Has so much connection with
the next generation of Africa, and also in the new stage to become a strong and young man of Lontor. Therefore, we need a new connection with the new generation of Africa who understand the music, who understand the social media, who understand what the creative can change their life.
We are here today for real business, to expand the Lontor brand to the fans of Patoranking across Africa and across the world.
It's the official signing ceremony of the company's new brand ambassador, who's here with the founder and the company's top management staff to make the arrangements a done deal. The musician is also excited about what's coming ahead.
It's a good one. This is one for the books as well. One thing I value most in life is relationship, and creating formidable relationship. So it is way, way bigger than just a business relationship.
From electric kettles to fans, blenders, and other reliable appliances, Lontor says all its products are a combination of functionality, quality, design, and value.
Time now for business news. Here's Anne Wilder.
Thank you, Millicent. Hello and welcome to Business News. The German Chancellor, Olaf Scholz, has announced plans to allow easy visa access for Nigerian businesses and strengthen bilateral relations between both countries. The German leader, who is visiting Nigeria for the first time since assuming office in December 2021, made this known today when he met business leaders at the conference in Lagos as part of his two-day working visit to Nigeria. Mr. Scholz is the second European leader to visit the country since the Russia-Ukraine war began in February last year.
It's the German-Nigeria Business Conference holding in Lagos as one of the activities for the German Chancellor, Mr. Olaf Scholz, who is on a working visit in the country. The Nigeria-German Chamber of Commerce is the host here and has brought together manufacturers, industrialists, economists, and stakeholders in the trade value chain between Nigeria and Germany.
We are not just here to discuss business. We are here to strengthen the bonds between Nigeria and Germany, to facilitate trade and to spark innovation that will drive our economies. This conference serves as a catalyst for building stronger and more prosperous relationships.
Okay, someone standing. Does someone have a microphone?
After the speech of the president of the chamber, members of the audience then bare their minds on issues which have been militating the expansion of their businesses. The panel to give answers is made up of the special guest, the German Chancellor, and the Deputy Governor of Lagos State. The first issue is electricity supply.
You have a chain, right? And that chain, as a Genco, I produce power, I sell to you, you distribute to the customer. You, as the disco, collects the money. I don't have visibility to your customers. And then for me to get my money, I go through you. So we need to look at that chain. We need to look at that chain and how do we make sure that we distribute. Even if you can utilize 80% of what we produce today, then that means you'll be getting almost 12,000 megawatts compared to the 4,000. So that's about 200% improvement. So we need to get the economics right.
For the Chancellor, the promise for an easier visa process is a message he has brought here.
We are digitalizing the whole process. This is what will be finished in the end of the next year. And for some countries, and Nigeria is one of them, it will be finished also in the beginning of next year, where we then have a chance to organize the access to visa much easier than it is today.
As the visit of the Chancellor to Nigeria ends, business operators with interest in German products and services will be looking forward to the digitization of the visa process as a takeaway from his visit.
Let's head to the stock market now. The color is green today. It ended on a positive note to start the week. And the last two trading sessions in the month of October, a strong buy interest from investors lifted key indicators at the close of trade today. Laddie Williams has the details.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, it looks like the local bourse is kicking off the week with a bang. They're up about 1.5%, 1.45% there. And we're back to all those highs we hit last time there, 68,000 for the all-share index, and for the market cap, back to the 37 trillion level. In the one fell swoop, these levels were reached today. Let's look at the activity chart now. We'll see buying pressure there, buying pressure in the market from investors with big volume coming in compared to last Friday, and value 8.25 billion naira. We see deals jumping back above that 7,000 level. Let's look at the sectoral performance. We see the banking counter there, topping the counter 1.20%. We see 4 out of the 5 figures added to their share price, with just GTCO unchanged. We see big gains today, driven primarily by 44 stocks advancing, countering the loss of MTN Nigeria. Well, it's earnings season, and MTN did report a pre-tax profit decline of 75% year-on-year, while revenue grew by 21.76% in 9 months. So we're seeing big greens right here in the consumer goods counter, 0.44%. Well, that's how your money performed today. I'm Laddie Williams.
And that's Business News. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Mwawadu. It's back to you, Millicent.
Israeli military says it has rescued a female soldier in Gaza who was taken hostage by Hamas on October the 7th. Private Ori Megadish was freed during overnight ground operations. Here's Simon Pusey with other international stories and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Israeli armoured vehicles have been seen on the main road running from north to south of the Gaza Strip, close to Gaza City. It comes as the Israeli military says it is expanding its ground offensive in Gaza. Here their military spokesman saying troops killed dozens of terrorists during clashes overnight. The UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees says thousands of patients are stuck in hospitals in the north of Gaza. Meanwhile, every day more news comes in regarding the fate of people snatched from a music festival by Hamas. Here, the mother of a German-Israeli woman whose daughter was called Laouk, confirming she was murdered by the terrorist group. Meanwhile, Israel has urged Russia to protect all its citizens and all Jews after a large mob shouting anti-Semitic slogans stormed a Dagestan airport. Video footage on social media showed an angry crowd running through the airport in Makakala, seeking people arriving on a flight from Tel Aviv. Some of the crowd ran onto the runway and surrounded aircraft there. Russia's aviation agency said security forces later brought the situation under control. The airport is currently closed, with authorities saying it will reopen on Tuesday. Some 60 people have been arrested so far. Russia's defense minister Sergei Shoigu has said that Russia is ready for talks on the post-conflict settlement of the Ukraine crisis at a military forum in Beijing. Speaking at the Xiangshan Forum, China's largest annual military diplomatic event, Shoigu added that Russia is also ready for talks on further coexistence with the West. It is unlikely Ukraine, the US or NATO would accept any settlement offered by Russia as long as its forces remain in internationally recognized areas of Ukraine. A major military and police search is underway in Colombia for the father of Liverpool football forward Luis Diaz, with authorities offering £40,000 in reward for information leading to his rescue. More than 120 soldiers plus police searched northern Colombia for Luis Manuel Diaz, seen here with his wife and son, amid reports armed men had taken him. The army said it had set up roadblocks and deployed 2 motorized platoons, unmanned aircraft, helicopters and a plane with radar in the search for his father. Luis Rubiales, the former president of the Spanish Football Association, has been banned from all football-related activities for 3 years by FIFA's disciplinary committee. Rubiales caused a scandal when he kissed the Spanish footballer Jenny Hermoso on the lips during the Women's World Cup final presentation ceremony after their victory over England in August. While Rubiales initially attempted to carry on in his role, he subsequently resigned last month and has now been punished for a breach of Article 13 of FIFA's disciplinary code. Well-wishers have paid tribute to the actor Matthew Perry at the Los Angeles home where the Friends star died in an apparent drowning this weekend. People laid flowers and other gifts to pay their respects to the 54-year-old actor who passed away at his home in LA. Perry suffered from alcohol and drug addictions. His post-mortem examination was inconclusive while officials await the results of toxicology tests. The US sitcom Friends aired 236 episodes from 1994 to 2004, with Perry becoming one of 6 household names around the world. Actor Hank Azaria, who played a cameo role in Friends, paid tribute to the man he said was more like a brother to him.
He was, to be as funny as he was on Friends, and he was, and other things too. In person, he was just the funniest man ever. But most nights you spent with Matthew were crying, laughing by the end.
And later this week, King Charles and Queen Camilla will visit Kenya for the first time since their coronation and the couple's first state visit to a Commonwealth nation. Ahead of the trip, the British High Commission has asked local visual artist collective Matwana Matatu Culture to design several vans, locally known as matatus, for use by the royal couple while they are in Nairobi. This local transport mode is affordable and convenient, and many people use them to get around. Conductors and owners are said to compete for the attention of potential passengers, and so the brighter and louder they are, the more customers they can get. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Super Falcons forward Omorinsola Babajide is already settling well with the team following her first call-up to the national team for the 2024 Olympic qualifier against Ethiopia. She says the team knows the task at hand and she's confident they will advance to the next round of qualifiers when they face Lucy of Ethiopia tomorrow in Abuja. Lionel Messi has won the Ballon d'Or for the 8th time in his career at a star-studded ceremony in Paris. Messi succeeds Karim Benzema as winner of the prize awarded for his performance last season when he inspired Argentina to glory at the World Cup. The Women's Award went to Spain's World Cup winner star Altana Bomate, who succeeds her international teammate Alexia Putellas as winner of the prize after inspiring Spain to glory at the Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand earlier this year. That's it on sport. It's back to you.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. Crisis erupted today in Rivers State House of Assembly as lawmakers moved to impeach State Governor Siminalayi Fubara. This was after fire gutted the Assembly chamber in controversial circumstances. That's your news at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Have a good night and stay safe.